I got home earlier than usual that evening. The house was quiet, too quiet. Normally, Lisa would be on the phone, chatting away about work drama, or binge-watching one of her crime shows. But there was nothing, just an eerie stillness that made my stomach turn. First, I thought she was asleep. Maybe she had a rough day, but something felt off. The air smelled different. No scented candles burning, no dinner cooking. The whole place had that lifeless feel, like no one had been there for hours. I set my keys down and called out. No answer. My gut tightened. I checked the bedroom. Empty. The closet? Half of it was missing. Her half. I yanked open drawers. Some were left ajar, a few things still inside. But anything important? Gone. The jewelry box? Empty. My hands were sweating. I grabbed my phone and dialed her. Straight to voicemail. I called again. And again. Same thing. I stepped back, scanning the room, my brain refusing to catch up to what my eyes were seeing. That's when I noticed something on the nightstand. A piece of paper. Just a few words written in that perfect, calculated handwriting. I deserve better. Don't come looking for me. I read it. Once. Twice. 10 times. My hands shook as I crushed the note in my fist. Lisa was gone. And not just gone, she left me. I staggered into the kitchen, searching for any sign, any explanation. That's when I saw the trash bin. The lid wasn't fully closed. My instincts kicked in. I yanked it open, rummaging through wrappers and paper towels until my fingers brushed against something, a crumpled receipt. I smoothed it out. A hotel. A single room. Paid in cash. My stomach dropped. I wasn't an idiot. This wasn't a weekend getaway or a sudden need for space. This was a calculated move. Planned. Hidden. Deceptive. My pulse pounded in my ears. I grabbed my car keys and bolted. I didn't know what I was going to do when I got there, but I had to know. The hotel wasn't far. 15 minutes away. My hands gripped the wheel so tight I thought I'd snap it in half. I pulled into the parking lot and scanned the cars. Then I saw it, her car. Parked near the entrance. My breath hitched. This was real. I got out, stormed inside, and went straight to the front desk. The receptionist barely looked up before I slapped the receipt onto the counter. I need the room number. My voice was ice. She blinked. Sir, I can't room. Number. I must have looked insane because she hesitated, then sighed. I can't give out guest information. Of course. I turned, storming toward the elevators, my heart hammering. I didn't need a room number. I'd find her myself. The hallway was dimly lit, stretching out in both directions. My brain screamed at me to turn around, to stop, but my legs kept moving. And then voices. Muffled, low. A man. A woman. My throat tightened as I followed the sound, each step feeling heavier than the last. And then I saw it. A door. Slightly ajar. Lisa's voice. Laughing. A deep, male chuckle responding. My vision blurred. I shoved the door open. And there she was. Lisa. Sitting on the edge of the bed. Wearing nothing but a hotel robe, her hair still damp from the shower. And standing next to her? Buttoning up his shirt like this was just another normal night? Our neighbor. A married man. I barely remember driving to that hotel. My mind was a mess, a storm of rage and confusion crashing together. My fingers clenched around the receipt like it was a piece of her, like if I held it tight enough, I could squeeze the truth out of it. She was there. She had been there. With someone else. When I pulled into the parking lot, my stomach turned. It wasn't even a high-end hotel, just one of those anonymous places on the side of the highway, the kind of place where people go when they don't want to be found. I sat in the car for a second, staring at the flickering neon sign, my pulse hammering in my throat. Part of me didn't want to go inside. Part of me wanted to turn around, go home, pretend I never saw that receipt. But the other part, the part that had spent 18 years trusting Lisa, believing in Lisa, needed to know the truth. I forced myself out of the car and into the lobby. The place smelled like stale coffee and cheap air freshener, the kind meant to cover up things rather than clean them. The receptionist barely glanced at me as I walked up to the desk. I need to check if someone stayed here recently, I said, my voice tight. The guy, mid-40s, greasy hair, uninterested eyes, leaned forward, blowing a bubble with his gum before popping it. Can't give out that info. I pulled the receipt from my pocket and slid it across the counter. I just need to know if she was here. His eyes flicked to the paper, then to me. He shrugged. If it's got her name on it, then yeah, she was here. With someone, I asked even though I already knew the answer. Another shrug. Can't say. People come and go. You want specifics, you're gonna need a warrant. I exhaled sharply, snatching the receipt back. It was useless. She was here, but she was gone now. I left the hotel, got back in my car, and just sat there, gripping the wheel so hard my hands ached. My wife had been in that hotel with someone else. And I had no idea who. No idea for how long. No idea why. The only thing I knew was that she thought she deserved better. I don't know how long I sat there, but eventually, my brain kicked into gear. If she was willing to disappear without warning, then she was hiding something. And I was going to find out what. I drove home, my thoughts running a mile a minute. Lisa had never been careless. If she left that receipt behind, it wasn't an accident. Either she didn't care if I found out because she thought I was too weak to do anything about it, or she wanted me to know. But why? When I walked back into the house, it was even emptier than before. It wasn't just that Lisa was gone. It was like she had erased herself from our life. Her clothes, her books, even the stupid coffee mug she used every morning. All gone. Like she had never existed. But then I saw it. A single envelope sitting on the kitchen counter. It hadn't been there before. My stomach twisted as I reached for it. My name was scrawled across the front in Lisa's handwriting. I ripped it open, my fingers shaking. Inside was a single sheet of paper. "You're not as smart as you think you are." That was it. No explanation. No apology. Just that. A challenge. And suddenly I understood. She didn't just leave me. She wanted me to chase her. And I was about to find out why. I stood there, gripping that note like it was some kind of sick puzzle piece. "You're not as smart as you think you are." The words were practically taunting me, daring me to put the pieces together. Lisa hadn't just run away. She wanted me to know. But know what? That she was cheating? That she never loved me? That my entire marriage had been some kind of elaborate joke at my expense? I wasn't stupid. I knew people didn't just vanish out of nowhere. They had somewhere to go, someone to run to. I forced myself to breathe, to push past the rage curling in my gut. I needed information. If Lisa wanted to play games, I'd play. But I wasn't going to play fair. I went straight to our shared computer, a relic we barely used since everything had moved to phones and tablets. Lisa was careful, always had been. But no one could cover every track. I opened her browser, clicked the history tab, empty. Not surprising. But when I checked the cache, I found something. A recent search. How to transfer large sums without alerting spouse. A chill ran through me. She wasn't just leaving. She was taking money. I logged into our bank account. My hands were sweating as I navigated through the transactions. My pulse stopped when I saw it. 5 separate withdrawals, all under $9,999. I didn't need to be a financial expert to know what that meant. She was staying just under the $10,000 limit that would trigger automatic fraud alerts. Over the past 6 months, she had drained over $40,000 from our savings. Money I had worked for. Money meant for our future. My stomach twisted, bile rising in my throat. This wasn't just an affair. This wasn't just betrayal. This was a heist. I grabbed my phone and dialed her number again. Straight to voicemail. I clenched my jaw, forcing myself to think. If she was moving money, there had to be an account she was transferring it to. Maybe under a different name. Maybe even under. I stopped. My gut was screaming at me. There was one place Lisa would never think I'd check. Her best friend, Emily. Lisa and Emily had been inseparable since college. Emily had always been a little too interested in our relationship, a little too eager to give Lisa advice when we argued. I had always ignored it, brushed it off as harmless. But now I wasn't so sure. I scrolled through my contacts and hit call. Emily answered after 2 rings, her voice sugar-sweet like she hadn't just been caught in the middle of something big. "Oh, hey Mark. What's up?" I didn't waste time. "Where is she?" A pause. A fraction of hesitation. Then a nervous laugh. "Lisa? Why would I know?" "Cut the crap, Emily." My voice came out sharp. Too sharp. I didn't care. She drained our bank account and left me a note like this is some kind of sick scavenger hunt. So tell me, where is she? Silence. Then Emily sighed. A long, drawn-out breath. "Mark, maybe you should just let this go." A cold sensation ran through me. "You do know something." She didn't answer, but I could hear it in the way her breathing changed. I switched tactics. "Is she safe?" Another pause. "Yes," Emily said finally. "She's safe." That should have relieved me. It didn't. I gritted my teeth. Is she with him? Emily inhaled sharply. Bingo. I felt something in my chest cave in. I'd been holding on to some tiny, stupid hope that maybe this wasn't what it looked like. That maybe Lisa had some wild, desperate reason for leaving that wasn't another man. But hope was dead. I clenched my jaw. Who is he? Emily didn't answer right away. When she did, her voice was barely above a whisper. You don't want to know. The line went dead. I stared at my phone, my own breath ragged. My heart pounded so loud I could hear it in my ears. This wasn't just betrayal. This wasn't just an affair. This was something so much worse. And I wasn't about to stop until I found out everything. I sat there, gripping my phone, replaying Emily's last words over and over. You don't want to know. That was what people said when the truth was too ugly to handle. But I had already passed the point of no return. I was going to find out no matter how deep this went. I opened my laptop, my fingers moving faster than my brain. If Lisa had been funneling money somewhere, there had to be a trail. She wasn't a criminal mastermind, just a liar who thought she was smarter than me. I logged into our online banking again, scrolling through past transactions, looking for anything unusual. That's when I saw another transfer. This one only a few days old. Not to another bank account. Not a cash withdrawal. Payment. To a name I didn't recognize. I copied it, ran it through Google, my hands clammy against the keyboard. The result hit me like a punch to the gut. It was a real estate agency. Lisa had bought a house. And not just any house. A property listed under a man's name. I clicked the link, my breath catching in my throat. There it was in black and white. The owner's name, Daniel Carter. I didn't recognize it. I stared at the screen, my brain working overtime. If she had left me for a man, I would have expected someone I knew. An old friend, a coworker, maybe even some guy from the gym. But Daniel Carter? Who the hell was he? I copied the address and pasted it into Google Maps. The house was 30 miles away in a different town. Secluded. A place people went when they didn't want to be found. Lisa hadn't just run away. She had planned an entire second life. I grabbed my keys. I should have called a lawyer. Should have taken a second to think. But I wasn't thinking. I was done thinking. The drive felt longer than it should have. My heart was hammering so hard it hurt. I ran through every possible scenario in my head. What if she was there? What if she wasn't? What if she had never planned on coming back? When I pulled onto the street, my stomach twisted. The house was nice. Bigger than ours. It had a long driveway, a wraparound porch, a car parked outside, Lisa's car. I clenched the steering wheel so hard my knuckles ached. She was here. I got out, walked up to the front door, and knocked. Hard. Nothing. I knocked again. Louder. Footsteps. A shadow behind the glass. Then finally the door cracked open. And there she was. Lisa. Looking comfortable. Like she belonged here. Like this wasn't some stolen life she had built on top of our old one. Her eyes widened when she saw me. But not with guilt. Not with fear. With annoyance. Oh my God, she sighed, crossing her arms. Mark, what the hell are you doing here? I felt something inside me snap. Are you seriously asking me that? She rolled her eyes like I was some inconvenience. Jesus, Mark? I told you not to come looking for me. I laughed. Actually laughed. You stole from me. Lied to me. And you think you get to tell me what to do? Lisa huffed. It wasn't stealing. It was my money too. I stepped forward, forcing her to meet my eyes. Who is he? For the first time, something flickered across her face. A hesitation. A crack in the act. And then a voice from inside the house. Lisa? Everything okay? Male? Deep? Familiar? And suddenly I knew. Before I could even turn my head, the door swung open wider and I came face to face with Daniel Carter. Only his name wasn't Daniel Carter. I stared, my stomach plummeting. Because standing in front of me in his house with my wife was my former best friend. I felt like the ground had just been ripped out from under me. For a second, I couldn't even process what I was looking at. My brain refused to accept it. Daniel Carter wasn't some random guy. He was Ryan, my best friend. Or at least, he had been. We had been inseparable for years. College roommates, business partners for a short time, the kind of friends people assumed would grow old together, sharing drinks and stupid stories about the past. He had been at my wedding. He had given a damn toast about how Lisa and I were soulmates. And now he was standing in front of me in his brand new house next to my wife as if he had just skinned my life and put it on like a suit. My breath caught in my throat, but Ryan? He didn't even look surprised to see me. If anything, he looked bored. Mark, he said, nodding like we were old acquaintances running into each other at a coffee shop. I figured you'd show up eventually. I blinked. I figured you'd show up eventually. Like this was normal. Like it was expected. Lisa was still standing there with her arms crossed, shifting her weight like she couldn't wait for this conversation to be over. And that's when it hit me, this wasn't new to them. They had planned this, talked about this, laughed about this. A slow, sickening realization spread through me. This had been going on for a long time. I turned to Lisa, my voice low, shaking with barely contained rage. How long? She sighed dramatically. Oh, come on, Mark. Does it matter? It took everything in me not to grab the nearest object and throw it. Instead, I clenched my fists at my sides and repeated, how long? Ryan stepped forward, slipping an arm around her waist like it was the most natural thing in the world. I actually felt my stomach turn. Lisa leaned into him. About 5 years. The world blurred. I actually staggered back a step. 5 years. 5 years. I had been married to her for 18 years. That meant that for almost a third of our marriage, she had been screwing around behind my back. With my best friend. I felt like an idiot. A complete, clueless idiot. Had it been obvious? Had people known? Had I just been too trusting, too busy, too goddamn blind to see it? I clenched my jaw so tight it hurt. So what was the plan, Lisa? Just bleed me dry and then disappear. She rolled her eyes like I was some petulant child throwing a tantrum. God, Mark, stop being dramatic. I took what I was owed. Owed? My voice came out sharp. Owed for what? For putting up with this marriage for as long as I did. I laughed. A bitter, humorless laugh. Are you serious? She shrugged. As if what she had just said wasn't pure insanity. Ryan finally spoke, his voice calm, like he was the reasonable one in the situation. Look, Mark. I get that this is a shock. Shut the hell up. I snapped. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. Man, I wanted to tell you. I really did. But you and Lisa, you wanted to tell me? I repeated, my voice rising. For 5 years? Ryan, you were in my house. You drank my beer. You sat across from me at my own goddamn dinner table while you were screwing my wife behind my back. Spare me the fake guilt. Lisa let out a small laugh, shaking her head. You always were so dramatic, Mark. That's why this would have never worked out. You take everything so personally. My vision actually blurred with rage. She was mocking me. I took a step forward. You ruined our marriage. You stole from me. You lied to me for 5 years. How the hell am I supposed to take that? Lisa didn't flinch. She just smirked. Like a man. That was it. The final nail in the coffin. There was nothing left to salvage. Nothing left to say. Lisa and Ryan had already rewritten the past in their heads. In their version of events, they were justified. I was the villain. I was the obstacle that had to be removed so they could live happily ever after. I exhaled sharply. Enjoy your new life, Lisa. I turned to Ryan. And when she screws you over too? Don't come crying to me. With that, I walked away. I could hear Lisa's voice behind me mocking, smug, victorious. I kept walking. I got in my car. I drove away. And I made one final decision. Lisa thought she had one. But she had no idea what was coming next. I don't remember the drive home. My mind was running at a speed I couldn't keep up with, thoughts crashing into each other like a chain reaction of explosions. Lisa and Ryan. Married. It wasn't just betrayal. It was a complete erasure of everything I had ever been to them. For a full year, they had been plotting this. Smiling in my face, pretending to be my family while they planned their little escape. And the worst part? They weren't even sorry. That's when I knew I wasn't going to let them get away with this. Not like this. I wasn't a violent man. I wasn't stupid. I knew getting revenge in the way my rage wanted wouldn't do anything but get me arrested. But ruining them? Making them regret every second of their betrayal? That was doable. I pulled into my driveway, shut the car off, and sat there for a moment, breathing deep, forcing my heartbeat to slow down. I had to be smart about this. Careful. Lisa had been planning her exit for a year. Now it was my turn. I walked inside and grabbed a bottle of whiskey from the cabinet. I wasn't much of a drinker, but tonight I needed it. I poured a glass, sat at the kitchen table, the same table Lisa used to sit at, pretending to be my wife while she texted Ryan under the table, and opened my laptop. Step 1, the money. Lisa had already taken a chunk of it. But I wasn't stupid. I had personal savings she didn't know about, investments she never cared to ask about. But what she had taken, that was going to cost her. I opened our joint account, froze it. She might have drained some, but whatever was left, she wasn't getting a single cent more. Then I went further. I called the bank, reported unauthorized withdrawals. Lisa thought she was smart keeping her transactions under $10,000. But guess what? It was still fraud if I pressed the issue, and I was going to press it. Step 2. The house. I checked the deed. My name was still on it. Lisa had packed up her things, but legally, she had no right to just take it. And now that I had frozen the accounts, she wasn't going to be able to afford the mortgage. They had their nice, shiny new house together. Good for them. But if they thought I was just going to let them walk away with everything I built, they were in for a very rude awakening. Step 3. Their little secret. Lisa and Ryan had kept their affair hidden for a year. That told me one thing: they didn't want people to know. Which meant it was time to let everyone know. I opened Facebook. For a moment, I just stared at my blank status update. My hands trembled, but not with sadness. Not with grief. With control. Lisa had controlled this situation for a year. Yeah? It was mine. I typed, "Funny how life works." My wife of 18 years left me for my best friend of 20 years. Drained our accounts. Stole from me. Lied to me. Married him 3 weeks later. If anyone ever wonders what betrayal looks like, just ask Lisa and Ryan Mitchell. I tagged them both. And I posted it. Within minutes, my phone exploded. Texts. Calls. Comments. I took another sip of whiskey and leaned back. Let the games begin. The post spread like wildfire. It took 10 minutes before my phone started blowing up. Family. Friends. People I hadn't talked to in years suddenly had something to say. Holy sh*T, Mark? Is this real? Tell me this is a joke. Lisa? Ryan? No way. No f***ing way. I knew something was off between them. Man, I'm so sorry. What do you need? The comment section turned into a feeding frenzy. People were tagging Lisa, tagging Ryan. And then, finally, Lisa responded. She didn't tag me, didn't respond under my post. She made her own. A big, dramatic essay about how she had felt trapped in an unhappy marriage and how she had found love in an unexpected place. Found love? Yeah. In my best friend's bed. She called me bitter, said she never meant to hurt me, that she hoped I could move on with grace. Grace? She stole my money, lied to my face, married my best friend behind my back. And now she wanted me to have grace? Oh, Lisa, you have no idea what's coming. I spent the next 2 hours on the phone. First, with my lawyer. The moment I explained what happened, he practically laughed. Oh, she's in for a nasty surprise. Lisa thought she had planned this perfectly. She thought she had won. But here's the thing: she got sloppy. The financial records showed clear evidence of fraud. The secret withdrawals? Legally questionable. And the affair? Oh, the affair. See, my state still allows at-fault divorce cases. Which means Lisa just screwed herself over. My lawyer laid it out for me. I keep the house. She gets nothing from the divorce. I can actually sue Ryan for alienation of affection. That last part? That was my favorite. Ryan thought he could steal my wife and walk away clean? Oh no, buddy. You're about to pay for her. Literally. Then came the next phone call. To Ryan's boss. See, Ryan worked for a family-owned business. His boss, his older brother, and his brother liked me more than he ever liked Ryan. I kept it simple. Hey man, just wanted to let you know. Ryan's been using company funds to cover hotel stays with my wife. A long, heavy silence. Then a slow, deadly, "Come again?" So I explained. The secret rendezvous. The stolen money. The fraud. By the time I was done, Ryan's brother was fuming. "Mark," he said, voice cold. "Consider him unemployed." Then, finally, the last phone call. Lisa's parents. Now, Lisa always thought she could do no wrong in their eyes. That they would always back her, no matter what. And maybe, once upon a time, they would have. But when I told them everything, silence. Then her mother, who had always treated me like her own son, let out a slow, angry breath. "She told us you were abusive." I almost dropped my phone. "What?" "She said you were controlling. That you didn't let her have her own life." I laughed. A sharp, bitter sound. "That's how she justified it, huh?" Silence. Then, finally, her father, his voice cold as ice. "Mark, do what you have to do." And that's when I knew Lisa had lost them too. By the next morning, Lisa and Ryan's perfect little world was on fire. Ryan, fired. Lisa, financially screwed. Their friends, turning on them one by one. And me, I was just getting started. By the time the sun came up the next morning, the damage was done. Lisa and Ryan's little fantasy world? Their perfect, fresh start? Burning to the ground. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Messages, missed calls, people who had been waiting for the right moment to spill the truth. Because guess what? I wasn't the only one they screwed over. Turns out, Lisa and Ryan weren't just lying to me. They were lying to everyone. The first call came from Ryan's ex-fiancée. Yeah. You read that right. Ryan had been engaged before. Years ago, before Lisa and I got married. And guess what? He cheated on her too. Not just cheated, left her in almost the exact same way. One day everything was fine. The next he was gone. Took her money, moved to a new city, started over like she never existed. Sound familiar? Her voice was cold as hell when she spoke. I saw your post. I knew he was trash. But this is a new level. I leaned back in my chair, running a hand over my face. How long were you together? For years, she said. Then one day he just left. No warning. Just emptied our joint account and disappeared. I laughed. Short. Bitter. Jesus. He didn't even change the playbook. I'm sorry this happened to you, she said. Really? But if you're looking to ruin him, I've got receipts. And that's how I ended up with years' worth of Ryan's financial records. Text messages. Even emails from his past scams. Because Ryan was a serial cheater. A serial liar. And I was about to make sure everyone knew it. Then came the second call. Lisa's boss. See, Lisa worked in real estate. Fancy office. High-paying clients. And do you know what doesn't look good when you're in the real estate business? Stealing $40,000 from your ex-husband. I hadn't planned on telling her boss, but someone else did. Because when I answered the phone, all I heard was, Mark, I just got a very interesting call about Lisa. I didn't even have to fake confusion. Yeah? The word fraud was mentioned. I exhaled slowly. Well, I can't say I'm surprised. Lisa's boss was silent for a moment. Then a quiet, deadly, we'll handle it. Translation? Lisa was about to lose her job. By noon, the cracks in their world had turned into full-on destruction. Lisa's "We're just in love" Facebook post? Deleted. Ryan's work email? Shut down. Their friends? Dropping them left and right. And then finally, Lisa called me. I stared at the screen for a long moment. Then I answered. Silence. Then her voice. Shaky. Panicked. Mark. I let the silence stretch. Then finally I laughed. Slow. Cold. Lisa. How's that fresh start working out for you? She sucked in a sharp breath. What did you do? I leaned back, completely calm. Nothing you didn't deserve. Her breath hitched. Ryan lost his job. I know, I said. Shame. My boss is investigating me. I shrugged. Probably should have thought of that before committing fraud. Lisa's voice broke. Mark, please. No, the word came out flat. Final. Lisa had spent a year lying to me, sneaking around behind my back, tearing my life apart piece by piece. And now that her life was falling apart, now she wanted to talk? I smiled. Enjoy your new life, Lisa. Then I hung up, and for the first time in a year, I felt free. Lisa and Ryan were falling apart. By now, they weren't just dealing with my revenge. They were turning on each other. Lisa's second Facebook post, where she tried to play the victim, backfired even worse than the first. She claimed I was spinning the narrative, and that not everything is black and white. She tried to paint herself as a woman who had been trapped in a loveless marriage and had simply found happiness elsewhere. Except no one was buying it. The comments section? A bloodbath. Lisa, you stole from him. What narrative is there to spin? Nah, sis, you weren't trapped. You were just sneaky. You found happiness in his best friend's pants. Own it. Why are you still posting? Just log off and be quiet. The best one? Lisa. Your own parents don't even believe you. And that was true. Lisa's mom had commented publicly. I raised you better than this. One single sentence. But that was all it took. Lisa deleted the post within the hour. But it was too late. Screenshots had already spread everywhere. Meanwhile, Ryan was in full panic mode. Turns out, losing his job wasn't just a minor setback. He was drowning. Lisa had stolen money from me. But guess what? Ryan had stolen too. After I tipped off his boss, his own brother, the company did a deeper audit and found out he'd been using the business account for personal expenses. Hotel stays, fancy dinners, even a trip to Miami. It wasn't just about Lisa. Ryan had been stealing from his own family. His brother? Furious. I got a text from him 2 days later. "Ryan's screwed, man. He has no money. We're pressing charges." Oh, that was beautiful. Now here's where it gets even better. Ryan and Lisa had been so confident they could just leave me behind, start a fresh new life together. But with Ryan jobless and Lisa's reputation in the gutter, they were starting to realize that life wasn't going to be as easy as they thought. Lisa was stressed. Ryan was angry. And when people are backed into a corner, they turn on each other. I got the first call from Emily, Lisa's ex-best friend. She was giggling when I picked up. "Mark," she said, "you are not going to believe what just happened. Lisa and Ryan had a fight, a massive screaming argument in public, at a restaurant, in front of everyone." Emily had a friend who had been there and recorded the whole thing. I opened the video she sent me. Lisa's voice? Loud, angry. "You promised me this would be easy, Ryan. You said we'd be fine." Ryan? Frustrated. Tired. "Well, maybe if you hadn't taken the money, we wouldn't be in this mess." Lisa. "Oh, this was delicious." Lisa snapped back. "I took it for US, you idiot." Ryan laughed, actually laughed. "No, you took it for you." Lisa's face went red. "Are you seriously blaming me right now? You're the one who lost his job." Ryan stood up. "Maybe if you weren't such a selfish bee." Lisa threw a drink at him. People gasped. Someone in the background shouted, "OHSH*T." Ryan looked stunned. Soaked. Then he just turned and walked out. Lisa sat there humiliated. She had ruined her marriage, ruined her reputation, ruined her own damn life. And now? She was losing Ryan too. That night, I poured myself a drink, leaned back in my chair, and smiled. Because Lisa thought she had one. She thought she had gotten everything she ever wanted. But now? She had nothing. And I had everything I needed. The silence was the best part. Lisa and Ryan had spent a year sneaking around, plotting behind my back, thinking they were so damn clever, but now? Now they had nothing. Lisa wasn't posting her dramatic woe is me updates anymore. Ryan wasn't showing up at bars, acting like the victim. It was like they had vanished. And honestly, that was fine by me. Because while they were busy running from the wreckage they created, I was rebuilding. The divorce, it didn't take long to push the divorce through. My lawyer had handled everything, and thanks to the at-fault clause in our state, Lisa got absolutely nothing. Not the house, not the savings, not even the car she had driven off in when she left. Everything she had stolen from me, she had to pay it back. And when she realized she had no way to fight it, she settled immediately. I didn't even have to see her in court. She signed the papers, sent them back, and just like that, 18 years erased. Should have hurt, but it didn't. Because the woman I had married, she was long gone. The last conversation, a month passed before I heard from Lisa again. She called me out of nowhere. A number I didn't recognize. I almost let it go to voicemail. But curiosity won. I answered. She was quiet at first. Like she didn't know what to say. Then finally, "Mark, I don't know where to go." I blinked. "That sounds like a you problem." A shaky breath. "I'm serious." "So am I." Silence. Then, a broken whisper. "I messed up." For a split second, I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. But then I remembered. I remembered the hotel receipt. I remembered the smirk on Ryan's face when he stepped between us. I remembered Lisa, standing in the doorway of that house, wearing a brand new ring, telling me to be reasonable. She hadn't been sorry then. She was only sorry now because she had lost. "You made your choice," I said, my voice steady. "Now live with it." And then I hung up. She never called again. Where are they now? Lisa and Ryan didn't last. It took about 6 months for their perfect little world to crumble completely. The money problems got worse. Ryan couldn't find work anywhere. His reputation was ruined. Lisa tried to get a job. But guess what? She had no experience. She had spent the last 2 decades living off me. Eventually, I heard through the grapevine that they had split up. No big, dramatic ending. No fireworks. Just 2 selfish people who used each other until there was nothing left. Lisa moved back in with her parents. Ryan left town. And me? I was finally free. The lesson: I should have seen the signs earlier. But the truth is, when you love someone, you ignore the red flags. You make excuses for them. Lisa thought she was playing a game, thought she had won. But in the end, she lost everything. And me? I walked away with my dignity, my finances, and the knowledge that I would never let someone like her in my life again. So if you're ever in my position, if you ever find yourself betrayed by the person you trusted the most, remember this: they might think they've won, but time always tells the truth. And one day, they'll wake up and realize they destroyed themselves. All you have to do is sit back and let it happen.